They say the dead are patient, that they have nothing but time. That time is the one weapon we living can never sharpen enough. But what if the dead aren't waiting? What if they're hunting? What if every abandoned house, every overgrown path, every patch of earth where the grass refuses to take root, what if these aren't graves at all? What if they're traps, laid not for the body, but for the pride that walks in before the mind can stop it? This is not a ghost story. This is a story about hunger, about three brothers who let their hatred outlive their mother's corpse, and about a boy who thought courage meant walking through a door that should have stayed sealed forever. Family, gather close. This is the Dread Codex, and tonight's tale begins in a place where the soil remembers everything, where the dead don't rest, they recruit. My name is Elias Voss. I am 41 years old. I live in the Arizona desert where nothing hides. I check every room before I enter it. I sleep with the lights on. I haven't owned a porch swing in 19 years. This is why. The winter of 2005. Buckingham County, Virginia. Back roads and tobacco barns and mountains that swallowed the sunset whole. My father had died 3 months earlier. Logging accident. Chain kicked back. They handed me his wedding ring in a Ziploc bag and asked if I wanted to identify the body. I was 18. I said no. I ended up in a town called Dillwyn, sleeping on my cousin's couch, clutching a community college scholarship that wouldn't cover half the books. Grief is a splinter you don't know is there until you press on it wrong. And I pressed on it every single day. Salvation came in the form of a boy named Caleb. Caleb was local. Born in the county, baptized in the James River, knew every dirt road and dead end within 50 miles. He had a laugh that filled rooms, and a cousin named Jessup and a friend named Tommy who barely spoke but watched everything. They took me in, showed me which gas stations didn't card, told me where the deer ran, and one night, huddled around a kerosene heater in Caleb's garage with frost climbing the windows, they told me about the house, the three brothers' house. Caleb waited until the heater hummed loudest. Then he leaned in. Off Route 60, he said. Down a lane the local kids call Sorrow Road. 3 farmhouses, built so close you could spit from one porch to the next. Belonged to 3 brothers back in the 70s. Farmed the same land. Drank from the same well. Hated each other like poison. He let that sit. Their mama died. And instead of burying her, they fought. 3 days, Elias. Her body just there, in the parlor, rotting, and them outside, screaming about bottomland and timber rights while their mother's flesh went cold. Tommy, who never spoke. Cousin of theirs did it. Soaked the middle house in kerosene while they were inside, still arguing. Burned them all. Then the cousin died a week later. Heart gave out, they said. Caleb nodded. But folks here know better. They say the brothers never left. Still fighting. Still waiting. And anyone who goes near that property after dark, Jessup laughed, but his hands were shaking. It's just a story, Elias. Don't look so serious. I looked at his hands, and I said nothing. I should have walked away. I was a guest in that county. I had no business with its ghosts. But grief had hollowed me out, and pride poured in to fill the space. I wanted to prove that death didn't scare me, that I could look at the dark, and the dark would blink first. That pride owns everything it touches. A week later, exams ended. Caleb's parents went to Richmond. Jessup and Tommy showed up at the garage with a 12-pack and a dare shining in their eyes like a blade. "Word is," Jessup said, cracking a can, "the three brothers' house goes quiet around the solstice." "Spirits sleep," Tommy shook his head. "That's not what I heard. I heard they hunt this time of year. Longer nights." Caleb looked at me. "What do you think, city boy?" "Ghosts real?" I said no. I said I didn't believe in anything I couldn't see. Caleb grinned. "Then let's go see them." We drove out Route 60 at dusk. The sky was the color of a bruise, purple and yellow and wrong. The gravel lane, Sorrow Road, was choked with winter-killed weeds that scraped the truck's undercarriage like fingernails down a chalkboard. The houses emerged from the trees like bad teeth. 3 of them. The nearest was a collapsed skeleton, just a stone chimney standing over charred bones. The farthest was boarded shut, plywood over every window, a no trespassing sign nailed to the doorframe like a warning from the living. But the middle house was intact. Too intact. The roof was whole. The windows were dark but unbroken. A porch swing hung from rusted chains, swaying gently in air that held no wind. Caleb killed the engine. The silence that rushed in was absolute. Not quiet, absolute. Like the world had stopped breathing. "Okay," Jessup whispered. "We saw it. Let's go." But I was already opening the door. Tommy grabbed my sleeve. "Elias." "Don't," I shook him off. 5 minutes. Just to the door and back. Caleb hesitated. Then 5 minutes. Then we come looking. I walked toward the house. The cold hit me first. Not Virginia December cold. This was surgical. Precise. It radiated from the house like breath from a lung, waves of it pouring through the gaps in the clapboard. The front door was unlocked. I pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with old smoke and older wood. The floorboards were scarred but solid. A staircase rose into darkness. To my left, a parlor held furniture draped in gray sheets, patient shapes, waiting for guests who would never arrive. And then I saw them. 3 men. Standing in the parlor with their backs to me. Flannel shirts. Denim jackets. Boots caked with mud that looked fresh. One of them turned slightly, and I saw his profile. A hard jaw, a heavy brow, eyes fixed on something in the corner I couldn't see. I opened my mouth to speak, but the words died. Because the man in the corner, the one they were all staring at, was not standing. He was lying on the floor, and the floor around him was wet, and his neck was bent at an angle that meant he was never, ever getting up. I stumbled backward. My heel hit the doorframe. The sound was thunder in that suffocating silence. The 3 men turned. Their faces were wrong, not deformed, not monstrous, just unfinished. Like sketches. Like someone had started to draw them and then stopped before adding the eyes. But they had eyes. Oh God, they had eyes. And those eyes were looking at me. "You see them too?" one asked. His voice had no texture, just words stacked in the air. "The bodies," another said. "We can't find the bodies. They have to be here somewhere. We've been looking for days," the third stepped toward me. "Maybe you can help. You're new." Fresh eyes, I ran. I ran out of that house, down the porch steps, across the dead grass. I ran until I hit the truck, where Caleb, Jessup, and Tommy were waiting with faces that shifted from relief to alarm to something much darker. "What happened?" Caleb demanded. "You were gone 20 minutes, 20 minutes. I'd been inside for what felt like seconds." "There are people in there," I gasped. 3 men. "They're looking for bodies." They said. Tommy's face went white. What did they look like? I described them. The flannel, the boots, the unfinished faces. No one spoke. Then Jessup, who had laughed at ghosts an hour earlier, whispered, "That's them. That's the brothers. That's exactly what they were wearing when they died." We didn't go back that night. We drove home in silence, and I spent 3 days convincing myself I'd imagined it. Grief, exhaustion, the power of suggestion. But the dreams started. Every night the same dream. I was back in that parlor. The 3 brothers stood over the body in the corner. But this time the body had a face. My father's face. And the brothers weren't looking at the body. They were looking at me. And they were smiling. On the 4th night, I woke to find scratches on my back. 3 parallel lines. Too precise for dreams. Too deep for accidents. I went to Caleb. He was pale. His hands shook when he lit a cigarette. I went back, he said. Day after. By myself. I don't know why. I had to see, and I saw them. But this time they saw me. One of them, the youngest, walked right up, put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, Caleb's voice broke. He said, "You're one of us now. You've seen. You've stayed. You're ours." I stared at him. "Caleb, I'm leaving, Elias. Going to my aunt's in Tennessee. I can't be here. You shouldn't either." He left that afternoon. I never saw him again. I should have followed. Instead, I did something stupider. I went looking for answers. There was an old woman in the county, Miss Eula. She'd lived on that road for 80 years. She knew things. She agreed to see me, but only during daylight, and only if I brought sweet tea and didn't ask about the brothers until she was ready. I found her on a sagging porch, wrapped in a quilt, her eyes the color of river stones. "I know why you're here," she said before I could speak. "You've been to the house. You've seen them. And now they've seen you." I asked her what they wanted. She was quiet so long I thought she'd fallen asleep. Then, "They want what they've always wanted. To finish the fight. But they can't. They're trapped in the moment before the fire. They don't know they're dead. They think they're still looking for their mother's body. Still arguing about who gets what. And anyone who walks into that house, anyone who sees them and speaks to them," she leaned forward. Her eyes were wet. "Becomes part of the argument. I don't understand. The living are witnesses, boy. To them, you're evidence. You're proof they exist. And once you've testified, you can't leave the courtroom. They'll follow you. They'll find you. They'll bring you back." I thought of Caleb, of the hand on his shoulder, of the words, "You're ours." "What do I do?" Miss Eula shook her head. "You can't undo what's done. But you can starve them. Don't go back. Don't think about them. Don't speak their names. And for God's sake," she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was iron. "Don't let them touch you again." I tried. For 2 weeks, I stayed away. I worked double shifts. I drank until I couldn't dream. I told myself the scratches were nothing, the dreams were grief, the brothers were just a story. But the dreams got worse. In the last one, I was standing in the parlor again. But this time, the body in the corner was mine, and the brothers were standing around it, arguing. "He's mine," one said. "I saw him first." "No," another said. "He spoke to me." "He's mine," the third laughed. "He's all of ours. He came in. He stayed. He's one of us now." I woke screaming, and found myself standing in the middle of my cousin's living room. I had no memory of getting out of bed. My feet were bare. My clothes were wet with dew. And on the coffee table, written in what looked like ash, "We know where you sleep." I broke. I drove back to Sorrow Road at dawn. I don't know what I intended: to confront them, to apologize, to burn the house down with them inside it. But when I arrived, the house was different. The door was open, wider than before, inviting. And standing on the porch were 3 figures. Not sketches now. Solid. Real. Wearing the same clothes, the same unfinished faces, but their eyes were finished now. And they were looking directly at me. "Come inside," one said. "We've been waiting." I didn't move. "Come inside," another said. "The argument isn't over. We need you to settle it." The third just smiled and raised his hand and pointed at me. I thought of my father, of the way his body had looked in the casket, still, silent, finished. I thought of Caleb, running to Tennessee with a ghost's handprint on his shoulder. I thought of Miss Eula, who had warned me that the living are just witnesses. And I thought of the scratches on my back. 3 of them. 1 for each brother. I got back in the truck. And I drove. I didn't stop driving until I crossed the county line. That was 19 years ago. I live in Arizona now. The desert, where nothing is hidden, where the dead have nowhere to crouch. I work a job that doesn't matter. I live alone. I've never married, never had kids, because some things shouldn't be passed on. Last month, my cousin called, the one whose couch I'd slept on. He'd stayed in Dillwyn, married a local girl, raised kids. He said, "Elias, I gotta tell you something. The 3 brothers' house. It's gone." I felt a weight lift. They finally tore it down? No, his voice was strange. Hollow. It just disappeared. One morning, people woke up and it wasn't there. Just an empty lot. Like it never existed. I didn't know what to say. But that's not why I'm calling. He paused so long I checked if the line was dead. Last night, my boy, he's 15, he came down for water around midnight. Said he saw 3 men standing in the backyard. Just standing there, looking at the house. When I asked what they looked like, he described them. Flannel shirts, denim jackets, boots caked with mud. I couldn't breathe. He said one of them spoke to him. Asked if he knew a man named Elias. Said they'd been looking for him a long time. Said they'd been waiting. The line crackled. "Cousin," he whispered, "what did you bring to this town?" I hung up. Last night, the power went out in my house. Not a blackout. Just my house. Like something pulled the plug. In the perfect smothering dark, I smelled it. Smoke. Old smoke. And something else. Wet earth. Fresh graves. Then I heard the porch swing. The one from the middle house. The one that swayed in no wind. It's still swinging now. And when I looked out the window, I saw them. 3 figures. Standing at the edge of my property. 2,000 miles from Virginia. Standing in the desert, boots caked with mud that has no business being here. They're not looking at the house. They're looking at me. And one of them is smiling. And his mouth is moving. And even though I can't hear him, I know what he's saying. Come outside. The argument isn't over. We need you to settle it. The scratches on my back are bleeding again. And the porch swing? The porch swing is getting faster. This was the story of the 3 brothers' house, Buckingham County, Virginia. It is not a ghost story. It is a summons. The dead do not always haunt places. Sometimes they haunt people. Sometimes they are not trapped by walls or graves, they are trapped by unfinished business. By arguments that never ended. By greed that outlasted flesh. And when you walk into their courtroom, when you let them see you, when you speak to them, you become part of the case. You become evidence. You become theirs. So listen closely, family. If you ever find yourself on a road where the grass won't grow, facing a house that feels too intact, too waiting, if you see figures in the windows who seem to be watching for something or someone, if you feel the weight of unfinished business pressing against your chest like a hand, do not enter. Do not speak. Do not stay. Do not let them see your face. Some places are not haunted by what was lost. They are haunted by what was never finished. And some arguments do not end when the bodies are buried. They just wait for new witnesses to join the debate. If you have a story that haunts you, something seen, something sensed, something that should have stayed buried, send it to contacts.thedreadcodex@gmail.com. Your truth becomes our tale. Your likes, your shares, your comments, they keep these stories breathing. And if you made it this far without checking the shadows behind you, you're braver than I am. Until next time, family, may your path be lit. May your faith be your own. And if you hear a porch swing creaking tonight, don't look outside. Good night.